Hey kids, John here. I wanted to talk a little bit about our terminal register. In other words, what's the highest note that we can play? It's my opinion that if you play a high C, you can play a high F because they're not that far apart. They're really not very much different to play. It's all about technique, in my opinion. When I went to school in Hawaii, I bought my first motorcycle. It was a Honda CB 504. Not super heavy, great bike to start on, but I couldn't put it on the center stand. Well, one day I was passing by a motorcycle shop and I stopped in. I want to ask him how to put this bike on the center stand. And so, he comes over and he just goes blam, and he throws it on the center stand. Okay, at that point in time, I was in my mid-20s and I was in incredible shape, young, strong. I should have been able to do this. I was strong. Dave was smaller than me, and, it makes sense that when you're pushing down on this handle that you should be able to lift it if you weigh more and if you're in good shape. Had nothing to do with that. Had everything to do with technique. He showed me how to do it. Bam! I put the bike on. It wasn't hard. It just I was trying to do it wrong. I didn't have technique. There's a lot of trumpet philosophy out there that talks about having these really incredible, strong, this, that, and the other, and you've got this routine. I think it's great to practice. I think it's great to have a routine. I think it makes you a better player overall. And it can help you discover some things about technique, tonguing, slurs, all that stuff. But when it comes to range, you've got to discover the technique that allows you to play in the upper register. In this next video clip, I could not have played more than an hour and a half total time in 2 weeks and a half. The idea, if it's all about muscle strength, how is it that I'm going to be able to get it up in the upper register? That was pretty easy. I mean, that's an F, right? I mean, it's not so much about this strength, it's technique. Within the technique, there is an element of energy being spent, without a doubt. Now, there are those that are going to say, well, okay, you could do that for 5 minutes. That was on a Wednesday night. On a Saturday night, and I only played maybe another 45 minutes after I did that little clip through the next couple of days. I went and I played a 2-hour salsa gig. And I played stuff above the staff, I played stuff in the staff, I played up to a double D, in other words, a D above double C. And I played for 2 hours. At the end of the 2 hours, I felt like, okay, yeah, I can tell I haven't been playing a lot, but I still could play up into the upper register. It didn't have anything to do with developing incredible strength here and the fact that I did my routine every day. It had everything to do with technique and knowing how to play in the upper register. Of course, there's going to be those that also say that, well, you're a freak. Thanks, but I'm not. There are plenty of players out there that can do that exact same thing. It's a technique. So how do we discover this technique? When I was trying to figure everything out, I did exercises at full volume and used a lot of air and did all that, heavy, strong, heavy lifting. And I realized that wasn't getting me where I really needed to be. And what I did is I backed off and I started playing exercises extremely soft. And I went for a whole different sound concept. Something more like piccolo trumpet or baroque trumpet, but something small and compact. And I advocate doing the exercises that are in my An Approach to Range video, and now bringing those into a softer, controlled approach. And here's a couple examples what I'm talking about. So it's sort of getting that compact feel. You can also gain other control of different functions in your body, like your air support or what your bass is doing, what your tongue is doing when you're playing softer, where you're thinking small instead of playing like that. You back it off and see if you can really get some control out of it. Same thing with scales. Same thing. Take it light. A great exercise to do to gain control of your air, both by playing soft and the type of support you need to control that soft, quiet, yet small airstream, is to play 2-octave arpeggios. And be sure to take them slow or slow them down as you ascend so you can really feel what you're doing and gain better control. Now I'm going to start slowing down here. This way we gain control of 2 factors. One is what you're doing in your body here and what you're doing, what the air is doing. A lot of trumpet players, when they get above G above high C, when they get into that register, you may have what I call a break. The way I look at this break is similar to the male voice. When you sing in your regular register, you can sing up to a certain pitch, and then you have to go into a falsetto to go above that. What did I do to do that? I backed way off. Okay, so I can get up there in a falsetto, but that falsetto is softer, and you can train it after a while to be a little bit louder, okay? But there's a break, and so trumpet players tend to have a break somewhere in their register. So my G's okay, but my break's at A flat. That note doesn't feel right, but I've learned how to play it. And then the A's pretty okay. So, but the G sharp or A flat for me is kind of not locked in. How do we get up there? We've reached this plateau, and now we just can't get that next note to sound. So if you're approaching things chromatically, that may happen to you. Okay, so what I recommend is 2 things. If you're still trying to get that particular note, back off. And you might find it. Use that control to try and find it. Or see if you can skip it. See if you can actually skip it. See if you can go beyond your break and skip that note. The thing you can do is octaves. Won't come out, so go. Won't come out. Keep going. See what happens. Whoa, wait a minute. Was that a B flat? Now try B. Whoa, that's freaky. Okay, so you might have run into your brake. You've hit where your brake is, and you haven't realized you actually have stuff above that. You have things that are above that, and then you have to fill in the blanks. You have to learn how to play through the brake and try and get control of the brake. That takes time, and it takes a certain amount of intense discovery on your part. But you may have a brake that you don't realize you can play past. I know what I'm doing inside my body. It's hard to explain, but when I'm going for the upper register, I'm creating velocity or air pressure or compression or energy, and it's coming from the core. The only way I can explain it is as if you're a martial artist and you're flexing your core, your arms, your chest, everything's flexible, but right there is solid. You can take a punch because this is flexed. If you're too relaxed and you're just blowing air, you're not going to get anywhere. This needs to be relaxed. Shoulders need to be relaxed. You can't be jamming it in. But this activates, that'll come out. There are a couple of clues out there that will help us realize that it is important how we use our air, not just how much air we use. That you're proving that you don't need to have this huge breath to play a high note. That's a strange exercise, but you can see Scott Engelbright doing that in one of the videos I have posted from him where he's setting his chops. And he told me that that's Bobby Shoes spitting seeds. There's not a lot of air, it's just a puff. You're not sustaining a note, you're just getting the note to bark. So how do we sustain it? You take the breath and you just try and do the spit and then keep the air flowing and see if you can sustain the buzz. So you start with maybe just the spit and just add the air behind it after the fact. And all of a sudden you might be playing some note you've never played before. Range is discovery and it's technique. Hope all this helps. Take it easy, kids.